So the next one, I'm only going to show you part of this slideshow. When we're working with photography, the thing you need to understand about photography is it's a two-step process. It's image capture first, the camera, you take the picture, and then it's post-production. Now in the film days, we never saw post-production. We only saw the prints. You didn't see the negatives. But photographers would send their negatives to the lab, and the lab would make prints from their negatives. Now the printing process was a lot more complicated than most people realize. It was a long, arduous process for fine art photography and really strong commercial photography. They'd run that negative through an enlarger, make a print, run it through the chemicals, and then draw all over it. I want more blue in the sky. I want more green in the grass. I want a vignette down here. I want that highlight burnt out, and I want a little more contrast and a little more saturation. Then we start making all these adjustments to our enlarger and to the print while we print, and we keep doing that and writing on the new print and writing on the new print until we've got the perfect print of that negative. And that is the process of photography, because cameras are unable to capture reality. They don't have the optics of our eyeballs. Our eyes and our brains are much more powerful optics than a camera. So it used to be in the film days, we did all that in a darkroom. Then in the digital era, we started doing all that in the digital darkroom through Photoshop and computer programs. With smartphones, we do all of this through apps. Now, a lot of apps are purely stylized apps to make cool looking art pieces, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to talk about an app today that is an app that I use for all my photography on my smartphone, even if I'm not trying to do something cool. And it's also a free app, which is great. So when you buy apps, you just go to the App Store and you do a search for apps. Now, when researching apps, I found a lot of apps. Some of them were free, a lot of them are free. Some of them were like 69 bucks. I saw some options that were literally like 14 bucks a month. Don't buy those. What an absolute waste. There is no way you're using a smartphone photo app enough that you need to pay 14 bucks a month for it. Okay, that is more expensive than Photoshop. And Photoshop is a much more powerful program. So I strongly advise against doing any of those. When you're purchasing apps, you have two options. Some of them, like the one on the bottom right here, is just it's a purchase price. You buy it. So I buy the app for $5.99. Now next to that, it says in-app purchases, which means that there are add-ons. So for $5.99, I get the basic app, and they're going to have extra things in that app that I can't do unless I buy an add-on. But I still have the basic app. Then there's ones like the one above it that say get in-app purchases. Most of those are not usable until you buy the in-app purchases. They're like test periods. So you can download it and you can use it, but you can't save it, or you only get a couple of the options. You can only do 2 out of the 10 things type of thing until you buy the in-app purchases. So you've really got to pay attention to those things so you don't get suckered out of money. You can buy apps like this one, Camera Control, ProCam 7, which has manual type settings for your camera. So it allows you to use it like you would use a DSLR on your smartphone. You can set your aperture, you can set your shutter speed, you can set your ISO, you can control white balance, you can choose your focus points, all of those types of things. However, you need to understand that this is happening digitally with algorithms, not with optics like it does on your DSLR cameras. So it gives you the option to tweak those things, but it's happening digitally. This particular app is $6, $5.99. It comes with a lot of features. To be honest with you, I never use it. The modern smartphones have a lot of these controls built in already. If you need help with your phone, literally every phone, if you type in your phone name and camera app on YouTube, there will be a lot of videos on how to use that camera and how to do your custom setting stuff. So if you want to start to play with those custom settings, hit a YouTube video and they'll tell you all about it. I personally don't use those. Now, post-production. Here's the problem we have in post-production. People open up an app with a whole bunch of presets and they start scrolling through those apps until they find one that looks cool and then they use it. We would like to do post-production with intent. What is your intent with this post-production? What does this image need? Again, photography is a two-step process. The first step is strictly composition and lighting. Composition and lighting will make a great photo every time. Then when we open it, we go, what could enhance it or improve it just a little bit? What does it need? And we tweak it just a bit. But we want to do that with intent. What does it need? So I'm tweaking it with intent. So for example, on these two images, the ones on the left are the original photographs. The ones on the right were after post-production. Now the post-production on these is quite heavy. There's no doubt about it. But this was in an old abandoned building. The items in them are very old. So I really wanted to bring out the rusty, kind of grungy look in them. So I took these shots with the final images already in my head. I knew what I was going to do in post-production before or while I took the photo. And then in post-production, it was real easy to go in and know exactly what app I needed and what tools I needed in that app to get the final image that I wanted to get. I use an app called Snapseed for 99% of the work I do on my smartphone. It is a free app and it is powerful. It does everything you need, literally everything. And it also works non-destructive. Now this is important. When you are tweaking your images, if it's not non-destructive, you can't undo those tweaks. So sometimes you can literally ruin your original image. So as you start thumbing through these presets and making all this cool stuff happen to your photo, you might not be able to undo it. It might be that way permanently now, which you just lost your image, which is never good. So Snapseed, and most apps will, just make sure they do. But Snapseed works non-destructive, which means literally it saves all your edits. I can go on my phone right now and open up a photo I took a year ago and worked in Snapseed, and all those edits come up so that I can undo them. Each one of them, one at a time. It's so great. So you want to be able to work non-destructively. And the best part about this app is it's free. It's free. And the more I play with it, the better I get at it. And the students in my Art with a Smartphone class, the more every week, they just, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much more on this app. It's getting easy. I'm getting fast at it because they're getting to know the app really well. Now, Snapseed features. When you open up Snapseed, this little icon, this little 3 dots on the top right, when you open the image, if you click on that, they have tutorials and help and feedback, and they have custom settings. So you can look through all those things and actually get tutorials. They'll walk you through step by step how to do stuff. I have found it to be pretty self-explanatory for most of the stuff I want to do, but this is what I do for a living. So I'm fairly used to the terminology in these programs. One of the things it does is you can open from your device, or you can open from your camera, or you can open from folders, which is nice. Under this, when you first open a photo, on the bottom, you've got something called looks. Now these are presets. Portrait, smooth, pop, accentuate, faded, glow. They have all these presets. Accentuate, morning, bright, black and white. So those are all presets. If you go to tools, under tools, they have my favorite setting, and that is Tune Image. Tune Image is your basic photo editor. It's got the sliders that you've all seen in all photo editors. Brightness and contrast, hue and saturation, ambience, highlights, shadows, warmth, etc. It also has a little magic wand down on the bottom that will try to guess what it thinks the photo needs and do it for you. And it'll tweak all those for you. So you can click on the sliders, or you can click on the magic wand, and you just simply hold your thumb and slide it back and forth to adjust your settings there. If you have it, when you have it the way you want it, you just click the little check mark on the bottom right, and it saves it. Then you have to export it. Let me see if I've got export on here. Oh, you can also crop. There's a crop tool to crop and rotate. It is non-destructive. And saving. So when you save, you go to export. And under export, you can share, which allows you to send it through email, send it through text, etc., etc. You can open it in another app, another software program. You can just save, or you can save as copy. I always save everything as copy because just to make sure I've still got my original in a different folder. Export allows you to, when you save as copy, it saves it with all the changes, so that if you open the photo again a year later, all those edits are still there. You can still tweak them and undo them if you want. If you export it, it exports it as a copy, so you've still got your original, but you can't reopen it and tweak anymore. It makes the changes permanent. All right, When you're saving, they save as, on my iPhone, I'm not sure what it is on Androids, as an HEIC file. So your computer, if you want to open it on a computer, some computers won't open them because they need a JPEG. So your smartphones capture in a different format than JPEG. With Snapseed, when you export or save as copy, it saves it as a JPEG, which is nice. So your original photo stays an HEIC file, but your saved copy is a JPEG. So it's a lot more versatile. You can open it on different computers, share it online, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the only app I want to show you. So quick, we just went through a lot of information. So if we need a break or you have a couple questions, let me know.
If you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. And I can, if I know you have a question, I can allow you to speak, I think, to ask it out loud if you'd like. There is also a Q&A feature. It's basically the same as chat. It's another way for you to, oh, Jen has a question. Okay, let me, where did my participants bar go? Okay, Jen is in the app right now and can't find the menu button. She has an Android.
Okay, you have to open first, I believe. I think you have to open a picture first. I think. So if you tap on, with mine, there's a big plus circle that comes up when I open the app. And I click on that plus circle, and that allows me to open an image, and then all the menus come up.
She said, yep, I have one and can do the preset buttons along the bottom.
But no other menus or anything? It quite often opens photos in looks. So on the bottom, you want to go to tools.
And I'm sorry, Jen, apparently I'm not able to allow you to speak. Oh, she said she found it. She has to click on the bottom to have it show up.
Okay. All right, is that it for questions?
She likes it. Jen says, oh, this is snazzy.
It's very snazzy. I love Snapseed. And it'll do everything. And most images, if you follow the 6 steps to better photography, most images will get by with just a little bit of work in TuneImage. TuneImage will take care of every need you have if you're going for realism. If you just want to enhance your photo a little, make it a little bit snazzier, but without it looking stylized or overworked, then you just go to TuneImage. And with all of the food photography that I've done that I'm going to show you, it was TuneImage is all I used.
So we have another question. Karen Aaron says, how about disclosing that the image has been changed from the original?
Disclosing.
Karen, could you elaborate a little? Is there a particular situation in which that would be necessary?
No. As I said in the beginning, photography is a 2-step process. It is capture, and then it used to be just called printing, because you couldn't see the image until you printed it. It was on a negative. And when it was printed, all of the stuff you do in TuneImage was done to your film photos. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Every film photo you've ever sent to a lab and got prints back from, they tuned it. They went to TuneImage and tuned it. There isn't a single contest or magazine or a gallery that requires you to list what you've done to a photo if it's been manipulated. because it's part of the process. That would be like, think of painting. If you're painting and you suddenly decide to try something crazy and mix acrylics with watercolor, nobody's going to care. Is the image good? And did the image communicate what you wanted it to communicate? The rest of these are just tools to get there. And as long as you've used your tools to get the outcome you need or want, the tools do not matter.
Okay. I think she was coming from the perspective of marketing. If you're a business owner and you're marketing a product to your customers, if your food looks better in the photo than it actually does in real life.
We are actually about to we're going to watch a video on that here in a minute.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. That's a great question. Yeah. Sorry about misunderstanding. That is a common question, enough that I've literally got a video coming up.